So I feel like that's the cool part, right? Every song feels like it's in an individual world,
Hmm.
but it still feels cohesive in like the umbrella of like it is a Tall Tale song.
Yeah.
But like, like when you listen to a song like, I don't know, One of My Dreams versus a song like Mad World or something like that, like you have like, I don't know, like A Day at the Beach versus like
I don't know when we're gonna release this podcast episode, in terms of like the songs that we're talking about, but all these songs that we're talking about are on the album and will be released if for context.
I mean, you probably sort of have figured out that that's our vibe anyway. But yeah, no, I think that that's probably one of the cooler things about like our sound. I think that that is like the crux of like what we do. Like when I think about our music, I think
Hmm.
about like pop songs that are under the backdrop of like if you listened
Of
to
like a
just
fantasy,
of the
right?
fantasy and if you just listen to these instrumentals that like they tell a story in and of themselves. Like I always say that like you can just take out the vocals and you can listen to just the instrumental and it'll take you visually to a place.
Well, that kind of lends itself to our roles, I guess, as Tall Tales. So
Mhm.
you're we obviously, help
Interchangeable,
interchange, yeah,
switching hats,
all the time. But your main forte is lyricism,
backs,
storytelling through, like songwriting, right?
backs.
And I'm more on the end of like production and more of the technical aspect. Obviously, like you said, we intertwine. Um, but if I present you a song, um, I'm usually already have the world of the song in my head, and I come from that production background, so I'm already crafting it in that realm.
Mhm.
And then the lyrics kind of lend itself to that. So that's kind of why I think the and other people have told me this before too, that the instrumentals literally sound like a movie. Well, that's what they're striving to be.
Agreed.
They're supposed to be very visual and very colorful, because those are the things I like to hear.
Right.
When I'm making a song.
And a lot of the times like for I mean, there's a million ways that we write songs. Sometimes it's lyrics first, or
Yeah, there's
whatever.
no set
There's
way.
no set way. There really isn't. But a lot of the times, the way that they do come into creation is we have a soundscape first, and a lot of times, like you'll name the song something. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that is in the
Oh yeah,
vibe
yeah.
of like what that song is. Like I don't want to reference a song that like whatever. It
You
doesn't
can.
matter.
It doesn't
All
matter.
right. So what is it? The most recent song that we recorded.
Live the
When I'm falling.
Oh, when I'm falling.
And
Yeah,
I don't know that name necessarily
matches
matches the
perfectly. But
aesthetic, but regardless,
what does this kind of sound like? Yeah,
yeah,
something
whatever you
cool.
were feeling when you were created it, like you named it something, you were like, all right, it's called like falling or when I'm
Yeah,
falling. Then
I just listen to that. I don't know what it is, but that spontaneous part of your brain, cerebral or whatever.
right,
The
whatever
emotion. Yeah, the
that
emotion.
guttural feeling
Yeah,
is, that
yeah.
what it is,
And it just
and that's how a lot of songs get created because you'll be like, this is it, and I'll
either
be like,
that.
yeah, I feel that, and usually it does match the vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Either that or it'll come from like a life experience,
True.
right? Like
Well, we
something.
always try to match them in some capacity to life
Oh
experiences.
yeah, no, yeah. All the songs are always
They're all
rooted in that.
biographical,
But I'm saying, at
100%.
least for the start of a song, the conception of a song,
Mhm.
it may come from something raw that just happened, and everything is built around that. Like that's the starting point. You know what I mean?
Right,
Maybe something just happened, and you need to, write the emotion out, and you build around that.
right.
Yeah. So one of those two ways. Those are usually the paths, the go to.
Agreed. And I mean, we're talking about it right now, but I mean, this sort of lends itself to the topic, like creating music as brothers. I mean, that's our creative
Hmm.
partnership. It's interesting. I was actually thinking about this a lot today. Um, and thinking about like kind of like going back to like all the different ways that like I've made music and all the different I don't know phases that we've been through. And like I've been in like a couple of bands and stuff like that,
Hmm.
like back in the day and stuff and whatever. Didn't work out, but like eventually now like you and I are in a band together. We create music as brothers and like the bond of that. And like, we talked
26-year
dude,
bond.
you can't replicate that.
No, you
And like
can't.
when it
That
comes
chemistry is in blood.
it's in blood. And when it comes to creativity, like regardless of who you're working with, it's always a vulnerable process.
Hmm.
No matter like you're talking about your feelings and your if you're creating
Yeah.
good art, you're talking about something real, right?
Hmm.
Like you're making something that's supposed to relate to other people. Like a large part of that has to come from something within yourself.
Hmm.
So
And that's
you
vulnerable.
have to be vulnerable. So
But
like
we're brothers and we know each other's lives, so we kind of just get past that right from the get go.
it's
And
easy.
yeah,
It's like, I'm not
natural.
afraid to, like, say
I don't even
anything that
think
I'm
of it,
going
I'd
I don't really
say.
don't. I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's more or less like we're just talking about, like, whatever's going on, like, on
Just
the
like right
front
now, we're
end.
literally just talking. That's how it feels when we're making a song. Just a
Right.
conversation, really.
A lot
You know what I
and
mean?
sometimes it's just like, "Yo, like, this is what's happening, and, like,
Yeah.
I need to get it out, and, like, I need to, like, talk about it or whatever." And then we find a way to, like, bring it into the music. But I do think that it's interesting because not everybody has I mean, I would think that most artists, for the most part, don't have that dynamic of like creating music as brothers. I mean,
Yeah.
it is interesting.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Not that I can think of, off the top of my head anyway. I'm sure there are, but
No, I mean, there's definitely some creative
yeah,
partnerships,
that
but
definitely is a huge benefit in our creative process.
yeah, and I mean, like we talked about, we sort of have naturally kind of delineated roles
Hmm.
as to like what our strengths are, and we kind of like
It's just
feed off
kind
of
of
that.
yeah, that naturally is.
We don't ever really think about it
I'm
too much.
interested. I'm heavily interested in production, and you're heavily interested. It's just like a perfect partnership.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. It's kind of like what is it? It's fucking I can't think of it. Not John Legend. Why am I thinking of John Legend? Who's the guy? Piano. Plays piano.
Not John Legend,
Not John Legend.
guy that plays
Older.
piano.
This is embarrassing that I can't think of it.
Um,
Rocket Man.
I can't think of him off the top of my head either. Ooh, that looks terrible for us.
God, this is bad. You have to cut this
Elton
part
John.
off. Elton John,
Yeah.
thank you.